Hello, 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 everybody! Oh my goodness, it's so great to see all of your non-existent faces. Wow, thank you so much for tuning into the very last episode of Arc 1 of our main D&D campaign. My name is Connie, my pronouns are they, he, and she, and I am the GM and executive producer behind Transplanar RPG. This is our all-transgender, person of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons fit... What the fuck? Sorry, someone just gifted 15 subs to viewers.
Groove.
So we've hit... Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute.
What?
I think we've unlocked another, okay, hold on. We'll get to that after we do our intro spiel, I guess. Jesus Christ, y'all are, wow, okay. I think in the meantime, I'm gonna reset that goal because, damn, we can push for another one, but I'll make a note right here. We've unlocked yet another backstory thing. So, hey everyone, getting back to the spiel. Transplanar RPG is an all-transgender, person of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play live stream campaign set in an original non-colonial anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter at @byconniechong, right down here in this marquee, and on Tumblr at @DandDaddyIssues. I also am a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program. So if you want to play with me for $12 a pop for 4 hours of fun time playing Masks: A New Generation, check out magpiegames.com. I'm going to pass along introductions to Devin.
Hello everyone, my name's Devin. I use they them pronouns. I play Manaia. She's tall, she's strong. And if you didn't watch the last episode, you need to get caught up because now she's a warlock. We'll get to see this episode and potentially the next episodes. You can find me on our Discord. Join the Discord. Join the Discord. Join the Discord. Because that's where I'm the most active online. Otherwise, I'll pass it right on to C.
Y'all, I'm C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, and jack of many hats. I am also going to become a moving company maybe one day in my life because I'm gay, I'm buff, and I'm good at putting stuff in boxes. You can follow me on Twitter at PieSharpArt or on Tumblr at Pie-Sharp. That's it for me right now. I think I don't have anything else to say. You can also usually find me right here on Transplanar RPG on Sundays at 2 p.m. CST doing art streams. But for now, Max, who are you? Tell me now.
I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I am gay. I'm not so strong. And I would love to open a bakery with my baking skills. Because that's what I'm good at.
Can confirm.
Can confirm.
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Starchmonger. Erica.
Hi, everybody.
Ahead.
I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. I play V. Scherzo, a elf sorcerer charlatan, and I can be seen here on Twitch and all other social media at Erica New Girl. And on my stream here, I like to play a lot of horror games. Recently been playing a bit of Among Us, which is the greatest horror of all. Seeing how many people love to just suss me when I'm purely innocent. Toaster. I see my mod Toaster. And yeah, that's it. Also gay, if there was any doubt in your mind. Are we back to Connie already? No, Devin.
No. Nope, Devin started us off. It's back to me. C, I'm going to pass things along to you, actually, to say our usual statement at the beginning of every stream.
As always, we'd like to open our episode by saying, a fuck Wizards of the Coast. So, a fuck Wizards of the Coast. Big middle figures. You can use the !WOTC command in chat at any time to get a full view and statement on our stance. Connie, please tell us about the very exciting piece of future programming.
Absolutely.
2021.
So you can now access our full weekly schedule using !schedule in chat, because I just figured out how to do that. But here's a quick rundown of what we do. Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time, we play our main D&D campaign. Sundays at 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, C does an art stream where they take requests. Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time are our video gaming nights where we might game with our subs. So if you sub to us, then great, you can play with us on stream. And Thursdays Thursdays at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time is One Shot Wonders, a brand new piece of programming where our cast takes a break from D&D to play a one-shot of GM-less, low-prep, no-prep, and/or indie tabletop games. However, because the holidays are just around the corner, we're taking a week-long break after this episode. So if you're tuning in for the first time, congrats. You're going to catch us before we go dead for about a week. So no programming from Sunday, December 20th, that's tomorrow, through Saturday, December 26th, that's next Saturday. We'll be back on Saturday, January 2nd, 2021, the day after New Year's, for a very, very, very special main campaign episode that will bridge Arc 1 and Arc 2. It's going to be an interlude episode to kick off our 2021 programming and introduce two of our very first guest stars. It's official. Critical Bard and Gabe James Games. That's right. Critical Bard and Gabe James Games are going to be joining Transplanar RPG Saturday, January 2nd at 3 p.m. Central U.S. time. We are so excited to play with CB and Gabe. We can't wait to share this very special episode with y'all. So stay tuned to our Twitter at Transplanar RPG for more information. It's going to be lit. So moving on, why don't you talk about our promo partners?
As always, and as a reminder, you can learn more about our promo partners with other trans, queer, and BIPOC-led streams, pods, and projects using the !promo partners command at any point in chat. We also have our official merch store up and running, so you can use the !merch command to get to our Redbubble page and buy literally anything you want. Hopefully in 2021, keep your eyes peeled for a lot more new designs, new gifts, new stickers, lots of new stuff, so you won't just have to get our logo. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But in the meantime, if you're looking for a last-minute winter holiday solstice gift, perhaps you can find one there. And with that, Erica, our donor thanks.
Yes, we'd love to acknowledge all of those people who subbed, gift subbed, resubbed, donated, or gave bits during episode 14 and our video gaming nights. Those folks are Dungeon Meowster, Yikes It's Tristan, Grim Wolfley Theros, Brucata Abido, Psionic the Hedgehog, Can Mai, Reliable One, Stucking Gogurt, Necronomicon, The Scoots 24, Kronos Angel, Sailor Scout Austin, Vinatau, The Right KC, Tabletop Obscura, Leon Rose Wrights, Pawn Circles, Memian, Saga GWJ, Max Morkson, Fishbread, Fazman 91, D and Daddy Issues, Not Damn Summer, 8-Bit D, Pigeon 130, Saddest Kitten, Pudding Gremlin, Werewolf Feels, Cal Roes, Punky Dumplin, ADHD Space Pilot, Impartial Pierre, Tamog, Minoba, It's Probably Okay, Luna Wonders 44, Fox Scribbles, Listener Luna, Ren 720, Mr. MKD, Erica Newgirl, whoever the F that is, Laura 4747, Ascetic Penguin, Sad Girl, Crude Imposter Nightbright, and Key Squared. Woo, can we get some hype in chat for all those names? Dang.
Hey, we love y'all so much.
Yes, and also, as you can see on our overlay, and as we've already experienced, we have a 25 sub goal. We've already hit that today. At 5 subs, you grant us 1 collective inspiration. At 15 subs, you grant us 1 auto crit. So I believe we get 1 auto crit, right, Connie? And at 25 subs, you unlock a player backstory. We've already unlocked them all, so now we're going to unlock more backstory. I'm so nervous. We've already unlocked all 4 backstories, and so this means that we get to deepen someone else's backstory until we brainstorm new rewards for 2021. So use !sub at any time to look at those sub rewards. And to go on to the recap of what happened last, I'm going to send it off to Max.
That's right. As a reminder, you can always access our recap by visiting bit.ly/transrecap. If you don't want to read that, though, here's what happened last time. The party ventured further down the winding crystalline tunnels that contain the lost miners of Yuddhabathi. They spiraled in towards a central chamber filled with apprehension. The path takes them to the Tomb of Giants, which is filled with treasure-preserved giants and Ravi, Oka's missing mentor, who has become a vessel for Fanash, the aspect of god Yuddhabathi that represents rage and destruction. Manaia, in her attempts to save Oka from the raw power emanating off Ravi, ends up falling multiple stories down. As if that wasn't enough damage, she catches Oka when they also fall, which kills her. As she ebbs away, the Princess of Leaves brings her back to life as part of a deal she made with Manaia's mother. And Manaia takes on a level in Warlock. Seeing Oka, Vinash recognizes the god Sen. In order to save Robbie and all of Yuddhabathi, Oka lets Vinash take their body as a vessel, breaking their sword against their chest. Vinash leaves Oka with a cryptic message, "Not my paragon, but you'll do."
Okay, wow. Yep, that happened last session. Isn't that literally so ridiculous? So we're gonna move on right now to the title of this episode. Devin, would you do the honors?
Yeah, so as always, the titles of our episodes come from poets that are trans, non-binary, people of color, and today's title is "To Storm What Thunders Without," from the poet Seth from the book A Black Odyssey. The poem is called Stand Naked, and the full stanza reads like this. Stand naked to the wind, shower in the rain, trusting what stands within, to storm what thunders without. Bear the blonde your breast, boast Beelzebub your soul. Your wounds hail before your enemies.
Thank you, Devin. A beautiful, beautiful verse. It's just fantastic. If you haven't already checked it out, check out A Black Odyssey by the poet Seth. And now, finally, moving on to the session itself. Are we ready to get started here? Some content warnings for this episode may include fantasy violence, cults, and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks, poverty and classism, and economic injustice, as well as political corruption. So, with that in mind, let's begin. Blessed be the dull, for they have no mind to doubt. Blessed be the cruel, for they have no heart to vow. Blessed be the weak, for they have no teeth to gouge. Blessed be the empty, for we have no soul to shroud. It's Swan 35, the last week of the second month of the year, when the four of you arrive at Dr. Oluso's homestead on the edge of the vast Euclid Chasm. Deflated wisps of snowy white clouds trailing through a late spring sky. The deep winter chill has long since peeled away from the atmosphere, leaving a cold, pollinated slick behind. And now, it's starting to get warm. Dr. Oluso's homestead is exactly as you left it 3.5 weeks ago. A humble cottage made of stone and brick with a small pen for chickens attached to its western side. Behind it, the Euclid Chasm yawns like a scar in the belly of the world. The other side, a bare pinprick of Kyrian grasslands on the sunless horizon. Insects, little flies and gnats, roused by the promise of summer, buzz around the ragged ferns and flowers, growing their stubborn way out of the cracked red earth of the Badlands. The inside of Dr. Oluso's cottage is as homey and organized as ever. Their various trophies, treasures, accolades, and thank you gifts are pushed up against the walls to make room for a low tea table, a small sofa, a couch, and an armchair. Dr. Oluso himself is currently leaning back in this armchair. I'll do it right now. Sipping a cup of tea. They look the same pretty much as you remember, a human person of average height, brown skin, a dirty doctor's coat, and short blonde hair shaved on the sides. Their face is beautiful, handsome, unscarred, despite their background as a prolific adventurer, inventor, monster wrangler, and all-around Renaissance woman. Oka, Manaia, Vee, and Dewey. The four of you sit around this tea table, facing Dr. Oluso. The caravan, chartered by the Senate, as thanks for your work rescuing the missing miners of Yuddhabathi, managed to get your party to Dr. Oluso's in record time. Instead of the grueling 2 weeks on foot through the Godspine, this caravan ride took only 4 or 5 days. And as the four of you now look at Dr. Oluso, they say. So, what happened?
It's a long story. We quelled the riots, you can still call them that. And as you know from our frequent check-ins, 'twas caused by a rage, something in the mountain. We went in and found Vanash. And you may be interested to know that Manaia glances at Oka. Brought them back here.
Oka, isn't saying anything or even looking up. I think they're like fuddling kind of with their with one of their pockets. They take out a rolled cigarette. Their fingers are shaking as they try to light it.
Dr. Oluso sort of nods slowly, looks between you, Manaia, and you, Oka, and Dewey and Vee. I think all of your faces look a little hollow. You all kind of look a little traumatized, maybe. I think, how are the four of you doing? It's been, I think the days following what happened in that fateful cavern have sort of blurred together, and passed. Maybe only a few instances stand out to the four of you. So as Dr. Oluso is sitting there, nodding, has been listening to your tale, says, wow, well, clearly seems like the four of you have been through a lot and definitely deserve something of a break. I have to say, I received a missive ahead of your arrival from some of my contacts in the Republic, and they told me of what the four of you had accomplished. I have to say, you've exceeded all of my expectations. I know what happened to the four of you was grueling, but you should be proud. You've helped a lot of people.
V shifts in her seat that she's wearing. She's kind of she's got some greenish robes on that she didn't have before, and she clears her throat and gives a few more seconds of silence before saying, I think your suspicions about the Chrysalis were probably correct.
I see. And Dewey, did anything happen to you as well? You've been rather quiet this entire time.
Yeah, I talked to some people. Also, I may have more children than I thought.
What?
But that's a personal thing. Don't worry about it.
Huh. Well, you didn't strike me as a particularly prolific partner.
Let's not.
Let's not go there. Yes, of course, Cardew. My apologies. Dr. Oluso sort of shifts their glasses and says, "So, let me get this straight. After tackling your friend, your mentor, Oka, Ravi, talking some sense into her, Vanash, you believe Vanash came out of her and you absorbed this aspect of Yuddhabathi? How is this even possible? I thought the gods lived in the beyond. Why would they be in the now?"
Same reason that I don't know. Same reason that they're no longer in the sky.
So, what happened after that? And sort of on Dr. Oluso's question, we now flash back to immediately where we left off in episode 14. At the bottom of this gigantic cavern, which we now realize is a tomb for the long extinct giants. In this world, giants have been extinct for thousands and thousands of years, for millennia. Just like dragons, they're seen as like the dinosaurs of Andake. So now the four of you, except for V, you're in the wall, in a tunnel in the wall, are at the bottom of a huge cylindrical cavern. All around you, crystalline walls made of gems and jewels and ores and precious artifacts, all the way up to a ceiling. And encased in these walls are the unmoving bodies of 4 or 5 giants, at least 15, 20, even 25 feet tall, encased in these walls, their arms sort of crossed over their chests, their eyes closed, dressed in royal robes, ancient royal robes. Some of them even have been buried, quote unquote, buried, entombed, let's say, with huge swords, huge axes. Some of them have even been buried with giant dire dogs and dire wolves, their favorite pets, next to them. And at the bottom of this burial chamber, this burial tomb for these giants, a huge, vast mound of golden, glowing treasure, jewels the size of your heads and your torsos, big fat gold gems, also the size of pumpkins, all around you, huge like crowns and rings and bracelets and necklaces. But amazingly enough, this isn't what catches the eye of the four of you. We zoom in now to Dewey. Our Aarakocra artificer, your blue feathers ruffled and singed from being zapped by all this lightning that was sparking out of his chamber just a few minutes ago. You're crouching over Manaia's limp body, our half-orc fighter. Her trench coat just sizzled and charred, and her flesh smoking with pain and hurt and wound. And Manaia's just lying there, barely stirring. Dewey, you saw her die. When you floated down there, you saw she was dead. You had no doubt about it. You didn't even have to make a check to realize she was dead. But now, you see her skin is glowing green and orange. It seems like life has been forced back into her lungs. And standing next to Manaia is Oka, our Osimar blood hunter, your gray skin sort of singed red as you finish absorbing Vinash, which is one head of the three-headed god Yuddhabathi, the god of mountains and war here in Andake, who apparently was inside Ravi, who's this hobgoblin woman, your mentor, your blood hunting mentor. She's now collapsed onto the ground, her red skin singed and charred. She's completely unconscious. And the last of Vinash, sort of like that scene in The Legend of Korra, like when Unalaq and Korra are battling for the souls of the Avatar, has gone into your body, and you reel backward as you hear and feel Vinash, this head of destruction, this aspect of destruction, swirling within your chest. And overlooking it all, standing at the lip of one of the dozens of tunnels leading into this cavern on various levels, V, you look down at this and you see what's going on with your friends. What did the four of you do in that moment?
You're muted.
God damn it! Oka shouted Avi's name and collapsed down on the ground next to her, checking for a pulse.
Okay, make a medicine check. While Oka shouts Ravi's name and runs over to their mentor, what are the rest of you doing?
I think Dewey scrambles back a little bit because he's just seen two people have divine power come out of them, go into them. But after seeing Manaia take another breath, and Oka's like, still Oka, he goes and checks on Manaia to make sure. God, she's gotta have a bunch of broken bones.
Okay. After sort of reeling backward a little, like, taken aback by, literally, this is so overwhelming, right? This is such an incredibly ridiculous thing that's just happened. So you're like, I need to take a minute. And then you rush forward to Manaia as Manaia, your eyelids begin to flutter. And that voice from earlier begins to fade away, but leaves like a sweet scent behind. You know, like some people smell so sweet that when they leave a room, they sort of leave traces of themselves behind. It's like that. It smells like springtime, mixed in with a little bit of autumn, just like the hint of apples and leaves just swirling sort of in your nose. And the voice leaves you with, "Oh, Manaia, I'm so sorry, but this is what she wanted. Just, I'm tired now. I'll be seeing you later." And the voice recedes into the recesses of your soul as your eyes open. What do you do?
Manaia's eyes shoot open and she sits up and goes, "No!" Sorry. And she looks around, taking in the scene, and looks at Dewey, kneeling right next to her, and says, "Thank you for being here. What happened?"
You tell me. I thought you were... No, you were definitely dead.
I thought I was too. What? I won't be leaving you without saying goodbye. Promise you that.
I got a 9 on my medicine check.
Okay. You go over to Ravi. You what are you doing to check her?
I'm trying to find a pulse point that is not burned.
Yeah,
you know?
that makes sense. You check around her neck, her wrist, maybe even her thigh, and you find a pulse. It's weak, but it's still there. You sort of check under her nose and she's breathing, but it's really weak. It's very, very unstable. She seems to be extremely, extremely weakened here. If anything else happens, she literally might die.
Huh. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Mama fish. Oh, Manaia.
Dewey, don't worry about me. I'll be alright. Seems like Ravi is better. If you'd like to take a look at her.
Oka, you still have Mama Fish's fish. Would you like to try to feed it to Ravi?
I already ate it.
Oh, you ate it? Oh, for one... Well, sorry. Yep, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yep, never mind. That would have been a nice moment.
Sorry.
Never mind.
I'm gonna force feed you fish.
I'm gonna force feed you fish so you can wake up. It's just like a video game. V, you've been looking down at the scene as you see Manaia begin to rise. You see Oka rush over to Ravi and sort of slump in relief. What do you do?
How high up am I from the ground, this treasure?
25 feet.
25 feet. First off, I'm going to cast Mage Hand to go down, scoop me some of this gold.
Jesus Christ. Okay, the range on that is 30, so you can pick up, 10 pounds worth of gold?
Yeah.
Okay, you pick up what's 10 gold coins worth. 10 gold worth of gold. A ghostly hand appears from your singed, scorched hand, and it drifts all the way down, and Dewey, you see a big old fat coin being scooped up. It's a 10-pound weight, and it ascends into the air and returns to V.
And then,
I give her such a dirty look.
Once I've pocketed that into my little gold pouch, I have rope. I do have 50 feet of rope, so I'm gonna I'll throw some of it down and then try to find some way of tying it down somewhere. Can I look for a place to tie it to?
Oh yeah, let's say there's an outcropping of a rock that you managed to secure one end of the rope to. Just make a athletics check for me with advantage as you rappel your way down the side of this chamber.
Athletics.
Because you're using a tool.
Okay, so it's gonna be an 11.
Okay, it takes you a while, and you're going down slowly, but after a long time, you manage to situate your feet on the gold with a light clink against your boots.
And then I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go over to Oka and say, "Are you feeling all right? How do you feel?"
Surprisingly fine. Focused. We should get out of here. We should get out of here right now. We should leave Yuddhabathi. We should go now. Let's go now. Let's go right now.
I agree. Dewey, can you get Ravi into a carryable state?
Yeah, can you walk? You got Oka fell on you?
I'll be alright.
Okay.
Manaia's gonna stand and maybe stumble a little bit, but manage to get herself up.
Okay. Manaia, you pull yourself up into like a hobbled kind of stand situation, and the glowing orange and green has sort of died down a bit, but there's still a little tinge of it in your skin that wasn't there before. So if people like look at Manaia and like the right light hits her, she seems to be glowing slightly green and orange. And there's a little bit of that spackling in her eyes now. They're no longer pure brown. So
White.
Oh, sorry, pure white. My apologies. Almost like looking at a diamond, and you're filtering various hues of orange and green through it. Dewey, you go over to Ravi. Make a medicine check for me. Dice. Roll them dice. Roll them bones, baby.
Got them out.
Mm-hmm.
7.
7? Okay, that's not going to be quite sufficient enough to stabilize her. So you go over to Ravi. How are you trying to patch her up?
She's been burned, right?
Yes.
I'm just gonna like wrap any cloth I have around like any open wounds, so that when we're handling her, we don't like get our grubby little hands.
Yeah, sounds good. So you get some, like, you tear off some extra cloth scraps that you have with you, and you try to wrap it around her, but she still is, like, shaking a little while she's unconscious, and the wrapping seems to be a little not quite enough to stabilize her. Oka?
DM.
Yeah.
Could I try something?
Yeah, sure.
Oka recently, I think, maybe thinking about their work with the regenerating, what's it called? Face Stealer. Would like to try to use their Curse of the Fallen Puppet to move Ravi's body.
Jesus. Okay. How does that work?
It's a blood curse, so I would take damage. And technically what it says is when a creature within 30 feet drops to 0 HP, use a reaction to make a single weapon attack against a target of choice within attack range. I could basically like pilot their body to make an attack.
We can just sort of flavor it and
if
say...
I amplify it, it can use half its movement. So I don't know if it would technically work, but I would like to try.
Let's say it's kind of like bloodbending, and you're just using this thing that you know how to do to just make it move. Make Ravi's body move without having to carry her, I guess. This is how you're causing her to move. She's not conscious.
She's way heavier.
Yeah, she's pretty heavy.
She's way heavier than I am.
Yeah, she is. And Manai's all fucked up, and none of you are a dedicated healer. So I think y'all are all pretty banged up. That's something you should talk about with Dr. Oluso, maybe getting some healing potions or something. The fuck? Not sure why y'all didn't go looking for healing potions when you were shopping, but that's something to rectify for the future. So the four of you, yeah, sure. Oka, what does it look like when you cause Ravi's body to stand?
I'm sure Oka has, like, they're totally fucked up. So they're just gonna, like, squeeze their nail beds into their palm. And when they start bleeding, they're gonna put their hands against Ravi's body. They're just gonna try to, like, pull her up with them, you know, like have her sit up. They're gonna like have her stand.
Okay.
And then like walk her. And they kind of like are like, you know, twitch, like they're puppeting someone.
Sounds yeah, like Ratatouille. Jesus Christ. Like Ratatouille. Yeah, she rises like a puppet, and it's all like very like artificial jerking kind of wooden movements. And her eyes are still closed, and her head is like lolling around, flopping around as you get her into a standing motion. And yeah, you're able to puppet Ravi in this way, but Dewey's giving you a look. How are the rest of you responding to this?
One step at a time. One step at a time. Okay. Somebody help me.
Heal her? This is creepy. I don't want to... Can we just heal her?
I have nothing left.
I got you.
Yeah, Dewey, what do you have? Do you have like a healing potion or something with your artificer?
No, I have one more spell slot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I probably wouldn't have done that if Dewey could heal
Yeah,
them.
I didn't know that you
No,
had.
I forgot.
Okay.
I was sitting here wondering.
Yeah, I was like, is anyone gonna please get somebody heal her?
What is my...
Everyone in the chat is like, is she gonna die here because none of you have healing spells?
That's 10 points of healing.
What is the spell that you're using?
Cure wounds.
Okay, so what does it look like?
So after my bandages fall away...
We just retcon.
Yeah, let's retcon the blood bending because I don't think Oka would have done that if Dewey
No,
healed. Okay. What?
Okay. I don't think Dewey... I didn't remember, and I don't think Dewey remembered, but the shock of seeing Oka, trying to puppet this dead body...
Sure.
That's,
Okay, this unconscious body, yeah, Dewey's like, wait, hold on, I have a simple solution.
I don't want to see this.
Yep. You rush forward, you lay your hands upon Ravi's sort of torch skin, and healing magic sort of flows through her. You sort of see the wounds skin form over the burned, charred parts of her body, almost like it's rapidly accelerating the body's natural healing process by a matter of weeks, probably. And then all four of you sort of see Ravi take her first independent step of Oka's bloodbending, and just and her breath starts coming in very hot and very fast, and her eyes sort of flutter. They look unfocused at first, but then it's Ravi coming back through her face, and she's steadies herself and looks around and goes, "Where am I? What? Oka?"
Sorry about what I said before I left.
Oka, you don't have to apologize. Who are these people?
My friends. We need to go.
You have friends
to go now.
Ravi looks startled at that when you say that, but she goes, "Yeah, you're right. We should." And interrupting her, all of you feel the chamber around you shake like a tremor, and a few loose pebbles fall from the ceiling and scatter against the gold. We don't have a lot of time left. It was Vinash keeping all of this up. Those tunnels, they're not supposed to be here. The people, the miners, they're still in the walls, aren't they?
I don't know. We don't know.
Okay, we have to get out of here, but Vinash is in you now. You can use him. Tap into your soul. Tap into him. Get him to get us all out of here safely. Oka?
No.
Oka, you can do this. And this big hobgoblin woman takes a step toward you and takes your hands in hers. Oka, I trust you. You can do this.
Get up the rope then.
Okay. She turns toward the rope, sort of nods at you, Manaia, Dewey, and Vee, but doesn't say anything, and she sort of gets on the rope, and despite her injuries, despite only having 10 hit points now, she's able to sort of climb and get her way up. Did the rest of you follow?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Vee, Manaia, Dewey, Oka, do you stay down there, or do you also follow?
Follow.
Okay. The four of you reach the top of the rope. You're in that hallway. You can see the spiral go all the way back out again. You can sort of see the end of that bend. And Ravi pauses up here and says, "Oh, my mind, it's like I was in the back seat of my own head. Oka, we have to do it now. We don't have a lot of time." And to punctuate basically what she's saying, the entire chamber rattles again, but stronger this time, and bigger rocks fall from the ceiling of the chamber, and the walls around you begin to crack.
I mean, we need to move. Move, go.
Let's go.
Yep, okay. So the four of you turn, the five of you, I suppose, turn and begin to run back out, out the spiral. Run. What do you do?
Manaia grabs her axe.
Manaia, you grab your axe. You're at 1 hit point, but you're hobbling along. You're real messed up, Manaia, but you're still going. How about the rest of you? What do you do?
I will have picked up
okay.
that rope before we left.
Okay.
Once the last person was up.
V, you rappel the rope in, you put it back in your inventory. The rest of you?
Oka kind of gets underneath Manaia's arm and like helps support her like with their hip and with their other arm.
Okay.
Just like moving quick and then as soon as we get to the like, because I know you said that the miners kind of stopped at some point as we got closer to the center. Whenever we get to the first miners, Oka will stop.
Okay.
The
What
first
about
miners that we come across?
What about you, Dewey?
Yeah. Dewey was just booking it down the hallway as fast as he could, sometimes glancing back, but we'll also stop at the miners.
Sounds good. The four of you sort of pause at the first miner. This is sort of like, let's say, like a half-elf woman is lodged in the wall, sort of like, just like a mannequin, like her arms are down by her sides, her eyes are closed, she looks like she's either dead or asleep, and she's just in there, maybe like 5 feet above your head, just lodged in the wall, in the crystal wall. Oka. Ravi stops and turns to you and says, "You can do this, Oka. It's going to hurt, but that's not unusual to our profession. You can take it. If I could take it, you can take it."
Oka's gonna close their eyes.
Okay.
They're not gonna say anything, but they're gonna think kind of into their brain Vinash's name.
Okay. You think Vinash, and it's sort of like just a bolt of lightning sort of goes through your head. And all of you outside, as Oka's eyes are closed, see Oka's like hair begin to stand on end, and like little like jolts of electricity come off, like leap off their skin. And like their like eyes through like their closed lids begin to like glow red. And you hear a voice in your head, Vinash's voice from earlier go, "What is it?"
Let them out. Open up the walls and let them out.
And you hear like this huge roar of effort. It's like a clap of thunder. And Oka, roll a d4.
Oh boy. Jumped right out of my box. It's a 4.
You lose 4 points of health due to lightning damage, actually, as this pain sears through your nerves. And all of you sort of see Oka's body like involuntarily twitch with pain. As all around you, you hear like noises like wood being splintered by a huge axe, except all of you know it is the crystalline walls cracking. Cracking open right above you. Crack, it opens, and this woman, this half-elf woman, falls out of the wall.
As soon as that starts happening, Manaia turns to Dewey, V, and Navi and says, "All right, if they're unconscious, carry as many as you can." And she's going to start hobbling forward down the hall.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
4 people.
Yep. Manaia, you're so fucked up. You're like, I can't really help anyone else right now as much as I would like to. So you begin hobbling down.
Oh, no. No, she's going to go for the next person.
Sounds good. Sounds
That's falling
good.
out to try to...
Oh, Manaia, you're too good for this world. Yeah, crack, crack, crack. Like just huge peals and claps of thunder ricocheting all around you. Not just down this tunnel, you can hear it beyond too. There's so many miners being freed right now. And as this half-elf woman falls out of the wall, she sort of and wakes up. She like falls to her like knees and hands. She goes, What's going on? Where am I? What's happening?"
V's gonna rush over and be like, "It's okay, you're safe now, but we have to get out of here. Can you walk?"
Yeah. What is this place? This isn't the mines. But she gets up and she's listening to you. She seems really scared and disoriented, so she's willing to just listen to whatever like someone competent is saying. So she follows you, and Oka, you can feel it's like you are connected to this mountain. Like every crack, you can see it in your mind's eye. You can see every single person being let out simultaneously, all at once. This is a sort of vision that sort of transcends what mortals are capable of seeing just in one dimension. It's like you're seeing in 1,000 different dimensions as all these people are coming out of the cracks. And you can also see that you can sense intuitively that the mountain is beginning to collapse. And you only have probably a couple of minutes to get everyone out safely.
I'm gonna use that use the power to in the mind's eye. Oka's going to imagine like the walls behind like the people on the farthest edges moving forward to push them to herd them basically,
Oh.
that they don't go down the wrong way. Like using just closing off the wall and pushing them in.
That's really smart, actually. I'll give you a point of inspiration for that. So Oka, as you imagine this power, as you channel Vinash's ability through your own body, all of you sort of hear like a huge groaning noise that almost feels like to you, Manaia, like the rush before a huge like tsunami swells on the ocean, but it's like a swell of rock. It's like a wave of rock and crystal. And you, like, Manaia, as you were hobbling forward, like, trying to help, like, maybe, like, an older dwarf man off the ground, you see this, like, wave, like, pushing everyone else out. Like, out. But, like, safely. They don't look like they're being crushed or anything. Just, like, they're being moved along the wall. And the four of you continue to rush?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Oka, do you open your eyes now and you're, like, walking as this lightning sparking off of you?
No. I don't think Oka would be able to move unless somebody was pulling them along.
Okay, so Manaia has already moved
too
along. Dewey, Vee?
I think V is mostly just going to be like, anytime she meets someone new, she's just like giving the same spiel, like, are you okay? It's safe now, but we have to get out of here.
Yep.
And just like, person after person.
Sounds good. That leaves Dewey to help Oka.
Okay. I think Dewey at first was just booking it down the hall, like gesturing to everyone, like, follow me, it's this way. But then he looks back and Oka's still where they were standing. And he's like, oh. So he runs back deeper into the thing to go find Oka and, like, tug at their hand, I guess.
Okay. Dewey, you take Oka's hand in your feathered hand and you pull them along. And it's pretty easy to pull Oka along. I think you're not, like, rooted to the spot or anything. And as soon as you're, like, compelled along, you almost lose your connection to the mountain. It's so new, this power, but you're able to grasp onto it. And you sort of stumble along after Dewey. Okay. Hydration redemption. Pigeons holding hands.
The motherfucking sip.
So describe to me, the four of you, what it's like. Is there anything you'd like to do before we move to the entrance of the mines? On your way out. Stumbling and running. Okay. So the four of you guiding these people, who have been dumped out, this rush of wall and stone and crystal and gem pushing everyone else out. And the four of you go pretty much out back the way you came. You are like come out of the wall of where these three crystal constructs were now shattered onto the ground. You could go back through that huge door. You see this huge chamber, this huge corridor with tangled swinging axes and these murals like aligned on the walls. And all these miners now are dumped out into the same, like, you sort of see, like, coming from the ceiling and through the floor, like, holes open up and miners are poured through these, like, ingresses and egresses and dumped out. Almost like a rush of people. Like, the ground is spitting up people. And there's, like, a couple dozen now. It's turning, like, a lot of people are being dumped out into this huge chamber that can hold them all, because it's such a gigantic corridor. And the four of you sort of shout at them, you lead them out. All of you can feel the mountain quaking. Oka, you are trying to, like, keep this mountain structurally, like, intact, but your grip is starting to slip. So the four of you are able to finally usher out all of the miners out back the way you came, out through that tiny little tunnel, and that perfect hole at the very end of the Ujval mines. You backtrack your steps, and everyone begins filtering out. Running. The four of you tangled up in this mess, running out. Anything the four of you would like to do before we reach the actual outside of the mines? Like, we're leaving this dungeon area, and we're entering out into Yuddhabathi again?
Oka's just going to make sure that they're the last person in the cave because they know it's going to crumble as soon as they step out.
Sure, sounds good. What about the rest of you?
You're muted, Erica.
Thank you. V's going to just take like sort of the middle of the pack and just make sure everyone's doing all right somewhere deep in the middle of the pack.
Sounds good. Yeah, you're like barking orders, making sure no one gets lost. Everyone's like not trampling anyone else, etc. Dewey, Manaia?
I like to think that Manaia is arm over shoulder, whatever that's called.
Mm-hmm.
Like supporting each other with one of the miners, trying to just like Yeah.
Get out. Sounds good. Eventually, the four of you pour out into the actual mine area, and you can hear people like chattering and like talking all around you. Their footsteps. They're like anxious, like oh, what's going? Just like murmur. Everyone gets out of the crystalline tunnels. Right. V, you come out. Dewey, Manaia, arm in arm with a miner, come out, and Oka, you pause. You pause at the threshold, at the entrance. This perfectly circular entrance that you now know was Vinash's work. And you could feel the entire depth of the Godspine quaking and collapsing behind you. What do you do?
I step out.
And the wall seals behind you. Just like it was never there. You sort of see rocks fill its space, and then like a glow, like a red glow, over it, and it's just smooth, plain, just rock. And you, Oka, intuitively know that unless someone else could harness a god's power again, this tunnel will forever be sealed again. The four of you step out of the Ujval mines into afternoon light. Evening light. In the city, this mountain stronghold city, capital city, Yuddhabathi of the Republic of Talmaad, you step out. And all around you is just noise. It's very bright. I think it's the brightest it's been since you've gone into this dungeon. So all four of you maybe take a moment to blink your eyes. And Oka, as soon as you sort of leave the dungeon area, the mountain, your connection to Vinash fades. You can feel Vinash settle back into your soul. And hibernate in a hibernation status almost. If you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know that he was there inside of you. But what he just did seemed to take a lot of energy out of him. So he is pretty much done for the day. The four of you step out, and you see just miners are hugging each other. There's that barricade, that quarantine area has been forcibly broken open. You see some people of the Day Watch being like, hey, you can't go in, we're still quarantined, but other miners have seen their friends and family come out. They're they've torn open the barricade. There's just reunions happening everywhere all around you. There's people standing beyond the barricade. The people of Yuddhabathi seem to have been watching and wondering what was going to happen, and they're all ooh, and you see old-timey news reporters scrawling quickly on pieces of parchment and backed by bamboo as they're watching what's going on. In this moment of chaos and joyful, people are crying and holding on to each other. What do you do?
V, I imagine it's still chaotic that I don't think V has found the other three yet, but she sees people, Manaia is easy to see, so she's gonna cast message and just be we did it. I can't believe we did it. And then she's gonna basically see each person and just can send them a message as well, just we did it. I can't believe we did it.
That's so sweet. I'll give you a point of inspiration for that.
That was the best part of the day. All of the miners that were taken by the rage, they got out, and it was joyous for a moment. Manaia says to Dr. Oluso.
Oh, great. Okay, we're back in here now. This was you all sort of pitching together to tell the story to Dr. Oluso. This flashback. Yep.
Trying to make a smooth transition.
Oh, thank you for that, Devin. That was real nice. I actually give you inspiration for that, Devin. God. Great smooth transition. There you go.
Connie just then took and crumpled.
You saw Dr. Oluso sits there and nods and says, wow. I mean, the four of you must be very proud of the work you did. I don't think just any four people could have done that.
I hope your doubts have been alleviated as to what we can do.
They certainly have been. And I trust that the Senate was more than grateful?
Well, they didn't exactly approve of us tearing down the barricades, but as much as we said we didn't partake in that.
And I think in this moment it sort of flashed to another flashback of the four of you. This is maybe an hour or two after all the miners have been rescued and set free. The four of you are in a room. inside the district of Vinash, actually. This is one of the rooms that the Day Watch uses for training. This is one of their like captain's headquarters. And the four of you have been... So Palin Meow, this human woman, captain of the Day Watch, the four of you sort of bumped heads with earlier. She's not as cool as the captain of the Night Watch, who was like pretty chill with the four of you. She is on the other side of this like table, and the four of you are seated on the other side of the table. Almost feels like an interrogation room sort of situation happening. She's standing there with her arms crossed, and she goes, "So, the four of you did it, huh? And he destroyed quite a lot of city property in the process."
The people are united, and the threat to your profit is saved.
Huh. I think at this point, like, medics have patched y'all up, so you're no longer, like, on the brink of death sort of situation. Have the four of you told anyone about what you saw in that chamber with Ravi?
The only thing that V is going to be very consistent about is that the Chrysalis helped in all of this, and that their cleric that came with us sacrificed himself
His life?
in helping us, save everybody.
So you weren't even able to rescue his body?
If you want to go back into those mountains and try to find it, be my guest.
You know what? I'm good. On my account, one more dead Chrysalis member is a boon to society. So, what happened in there? Were they all just sort of huddled in a chamber, attacking each other, or? So what's your four's cover story? What's the story you've agreed upon of what actually happened? All the miners seem to have some, like, amnesia. They don't really remember much after they were taken by the rage, so what is the cover story here?
Does V use her skills?
I think the cover story is exactly what people expect. When the rage subsided, it subsided for them, but they were trapped in the cave, huddled in corners, whittling away. And we just found the entrance, and got them all out, and as soon as they started moving, everything started collapsing.
Okay, so there's just sort of like a big chamber. You don't say anything about the giants. You don't say anything about that corridor. Okay.
Not to the government.
Do you all think there should have at least been some creature perpetuating the rage that we killed while in there?
Like
I
make
feel like
up
we
a
need
creature?
to attribute the rage to something so they know it's safe now. So
And we're like, we shattered its gem and the rage dissipated. Something like that.
So
yeah,
It was
exactly.
a construct.
it was a construct. Okay. So
There
you
you
tell
go.
her the story. She goes, so the creature is dead now? Well, do you have any
Yes.
proof of its death? Its shattered gem?
Once again, if you'd like to go into the caves that collapsed to find it, be my guest.
Nah, you know what? I think we're good.
Are the saved prisoners not evidence enough?
I suppose. They haven't been very useful in questioning, though. They all seem to suffer from amnesia. They don't even remember anything until stepping out of the cave. So she's sort of like...
Something strange about that mountain.
Yes. Well,
Wouldn't go too far.
You know all the folk tales and the myths of this being some big old giant's tomb? I think that's a bunch of hogwash. And she sort of strokes her chin, looks at the four of you and says, well, it's definitely dead. It's not going to come back.
Definitely. The caves even collapsed as we walked out. So whatever remaining life was crushed along with it.
Okay, well, I guess we could let you off with a slap on the wrist for just destroying a little bit of... and the door opens, and all of you sort of hear a voice that says... Captain Meow, I'm not sure if that will be necessary. These are heroes, are they not? And stepping through the door is, who will it be, actually? You see a Triton woman with sort of blue skin, these, like, gills. She looks like a shark, like a hammerhead shark-like woman, with, like, her eyes are, like, on either side of this, like, long, like, these long... I don't know what they're called, eye stalks for hammerhead sharks. She's dressed real nice in these, like, nice robes. She's flanked on either side by, like, a personal guard. And Captain Meow goes, a Consul Bataval, I weren't expecting you here. Yes, of course not. Well, I'm actually here on behalf of all three consuls. We wish to celebrate our heroes and reward them accordingly for saving our capital city. Hello. She sort of like smiles to the four of you. My name is Karishma. I am the consul of Suraksha here in Yuddhabathi. My apologies for not making my introduction earlier. We are quite swamped with other requests. The refugee crisis has been quite hard on our city. So I have to thank you, the four of you individual heroes, for taking care of this growing problem in our minds. You have our deepest appreciation.
What did you say your name was?
Karishma. So that's Karishma. Bataval is her last name. Bataval. Like her robes are sort of in like the black, red, and golden colors of the Republic. And she goes, the four of you are free from questioning. Please enjoy the rest of your night, but we would love to have a award ceremony in the Senate House to sort of acknowledge the four of yours efforts tomorrow, please. And if you need to go somewhere, I realize based on my records that none of you are technically part of our capital city, but due to your heroism and your efforts, you're welcome in Yuddhabathi anytime. But if you want to go back home or visit your friends or family, whatnot outside of the city, we'll be more than happy to charter a caravan for you.
Well, I think we're a little overdue for a feast.
Yes, quite. There will be a dinner in your honor if you can stay for just another night.
How public is this whole affair?
There will be press, but the general public will not be allowed in. You can, of course, invite a few people, friends in the city that you would like to attend. Perhaps that hobgoblin woman that I saw the four of you consorting with. You can invite her, friends from the mines. It would be nice to see the miners represented at the ceremony, actually. Let's make that happen. She sort of like talks to one of like her guards, and the assistant goes, yes, of course, and like scribbles this down. Okay, is that all you want to say to her? Okay. So sort of on that scene, we transition over to the award ceremony itself. This is sort of like in the middle of the Senate House, sort of in their like grand, like big, like meeting hall area. The Senate House is like it's not like a house, it's like a big courtyard, sort of like medieval, like Indian style situation, like with beautiful like plants and ferns and gardens like outside, and like just multiple houses connected to each other by walkways, guarded by palatial guards. And the four of you are seated at the very front of an audience area. There's sort of like a stage area that's elevated slightly above the audience. And Karishma is at the stage. She's at the podium giving a speech about Yuddhabathi's future, heroes, whatnot. And each of the four of you is expected to go up one at a time for her to like put a medal of like heroism on you. Yes, Oka.
It doesn't go.
You don't show up?
Send Ibia.
You send Ibia in your stead. Okay, sounds good. That's cute. Okay. Does anyone else not show up, or do you all show up otherwise?
Do we realize that Oka's not coming?
Or do you just not show up randomly?
They might not show up randomly.
Okay. The rest of you?
I think that they send Mama Fish and Ibia in, and Ibia has a little like piece of parchment pinned to their shirt that says Oka on it.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, Mama Fish is sitting at the one seat that's been reserved for you, and Ibia is sitting in her lap with Oka pinned on her chest. What about the rest of you?
I mean, Manaia's there.
Okay. V,
Yeah.
Dewey, show up?
Yeah, V's gonna show up, and again, it's just gonna be very pro Chrysalis throughout the entire night. Like, if she's allowed to say a few words, she's gonna again applaud the Chrysalis for all of their support.
Cool. So V shows up. Dewey, do you show up?
No.
You also impromptu don't show up. Why not?
It's too high profile.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it would be a good time for me to get stuff done
Sounds good.
when everyone else is busy.
Actually, I do have one invite that V would have wanted to send out.
I think each of you are allowed to bring like a +1 or something to this event, +2. This
I
is
don't
an
want
event
them to come
you.
with me, but I just want them to have an invitation, but not with me.
Is
Not
it going
like
to
as
be
a
Adam?
Sievert?
Wow. Okay. You invite, so you send like, because he's like a pretty well-known figure, so it's pretty easy to get his like public office. And you know where his office is, because you burned it down. You send a missive to Sievert's office inviting him to the award ceremony. Okay. Okay. So this is what happens at the award ceremony. Mama Fish with Eva in her lap, like Karishma glances a couple times down and sort of like frowns a little when she sees this huge like orca woman with this human girl, this preteen human girl in her lap. There's just an empty seat where Dewey should be. Manaia's there, Vee's there, and there's an audience of, as she promised, just mostly senators and like press. With like a few like minors, there's like a delegation of minors sort of like up front as well in like place of honor, like Mama Fish's friends that she wanted to invite. I don't think Ravi's there because I have a feeling I know where Oka is. Also, Ravi has to be recovering. Her injuries were a lot worse than yours. I think she's still on bed rest. And there's an empty seat where Sievert is supposed to be. He did not show up. Vee, I think you noticed this. And Karishma finally finishes giving her speech, and the other two consuls are seated on the stage. And at this point, Manaia and Vee, you're the only ones who see what they look like. One of them is a leonin man. A lion-like man. He's sort of sitting there, and like he's got like jet black fur, except like his mane is red. And he's just sitting there like very goth. Very goth, and he's sitting there. He's in these big robes, and you see like even though this is just a ceremony, he has a huge maul that's sort of like strapped to his back, and he's sitting there like big muscles, very like masculine. You know what I mean? Like you know, trans dudes on tea after 5 years sort of situation here. Like with the facial hair, except that he has these two tiny little spectacles on, like balanced on the bridge of his nose. And you know him as Abramed Rahim. He is the consul of Vinash. He's in charge of war and whatnot in Yuddhabathi and in the Republic beyond that. And the final consul, this third consul, sort of dwarfed by both Karishma and Abramed, is a gnome man. Very small, about the size of Ibia, if not smaller. Actually smaller than Ibia, I think. And his feet are sort of dangling off the ground, like on this chair, and he sort of looks a little like nervous as he's sitting up there. He has this like tiny little like tip pointed hat, almost like a wizard's hat. You recognize it as similar to the hat that Magic Mike wore.
I swear to God.
Oh, when he stepped up. But he's sitting there, he's got this like little beard on, and you know him as Hajvaz Sardat. He is the consul of Thristy, or creation. He's in charge of entertainment, arts, and sciences. And he's sitting there, and the podium kind of blocks him. You get the feeling that, like, maybe, like, he's not seen as important to the city as the other two consuls. You know, like, he's trying to, like, talk. You know, like, the other consul, Abramed, was allowed to give a few words, and then he, like, tried to give a few words, but was cut off by, like, the entrance, like, the award music, you know, at the end. So finally comes the ceremony. Vee and Dewey, Ibia, and Mama Fish go on to the podium. You know, Karishma gives you a medal, Vee. And sort of, like, in that private moment, you can sort of, like, see a bunch of people sketching, you know, like, artists sketching very quickly what's happening, because there's no cameras here yet. She goes, "Thank you for your service."
Thank you.
She nods. And you move on, gives it to you, Manaia. "Thank you for your service."
Manaia nods.
You move on. Then she steps up to Mama Fish. "Thank you for your service." She puts it over Mama. It like doesn't quite fit, but she like gets it on Mama Fish's snout. She goes, "Why? Oh, it's nothing." And she like waddles across the stage. And finally, Ibia, she goes, "Thank you for your service." And it's like huge is like weighing her down, this medal. And Ibia goes, yes, I'm the next hero of Yuddhabathi. And like she's like ushered off the stage very quickly by like a couple of security guards. So that's sort of like how the entrance ceremony. Sorry, not the entrance ceremony. What are we talking about? This is an anime. The award ceremony goes. And off that, I think we can take a quick break. Our quick 10-minute break, and I think we can transition into the rest of y'all tying up your business in Yuddhabathi through flashbacks, and then we can talk to Dr. Oluso about next steps. What the hell is going to happen in Arc 2? Okay. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you all for sticking around. Thank you to that anonymous gift sub for 5 subs, to that raid from earlier. We can't acknowledge it during because we're in the flow of things, but we can acknowledge it during breaks. Thank you so much. We'll be back in 10. Stick around, listen to the beautiful music. And I finally updated our fan art reel. So take a look at all this amazing art people have drawn of our campaign. We'll be back in 10. We love y'all.
If I go fast instead of slowly, instead of last, if my father survives me, if I explode, if I go up in smoke, if I go quietly, when I go quiet, give my heart to my mother, she'll know what to do, give my songs to my lover, she'll know what to do, give my bones to my father, my poems to my sister, my love to one another, give it all to each other. And I suppose the soul can go to the children. I suppose the trash can go to the museum. I suppose the dreams can go in the casket. I suppose the blood will go where you ask it. Will go where you ask it. Will spill where you ask it. Will spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I was once the tree, and I was the paper. I was the hair, and I was the razor. I was the leg, I was the table. I was the cloth, and I was the indigo. And I was the indigo, and I was the indigo, and I was the indigo, and I was the color girl, 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 and I was the color girl. Doom did. It's the blue light when we're out with our friends. It's the blue light asking where the night should end. It's the blue light saying, come over. It's the blue light in my coat on my shoulders. Lying in your room, playing with your hair. Lying to myself, saying that there's nothing there. There's nothing. It's the cold light of the moon when I'm walking home. It's the warm light through my window when I wake up alone. It's the white lies when our friends ask what's going on. It's the white lies when I say we're just fucking and that's all. Laughing in your room, riding in your car, promising myself I won't let this go too far. And yet here we are, and yet here we are, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm not your boyfriend, but I'm somebody. I'm not emotionally available, mentally stable, but I'd like to be. Be the blue light when we're out with our friends. Be the blue light asking where the night should end. Be the blue light saying, come over. Be the blue light in the cold on your shoulders. Lying in my room, playing solitaire. Lying to myself, saying I'm too cool to care. But you're coming over, and you wanna know what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing? 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 What are we doing here? College parties, college drinking, all you outcasts gather round, roll a fat one, pour the shots, give this death all you've got. Let the liquor loosen your mouth, make a bow with friendly tongues. Call your lover, say you're sorry, then go back to making fun. Your friends are drunk and useless. Welcome to senior year. The night is young and ruthless, and you if you tell them now, with your words or with your mouth. You should know it's now or never.
Hello, everybody. It's great to see all of your faces yet again. Non-existent, of course. So we're coming back into the second leg of the final episode of Arc 1 of our all-transgender, person of color, led 100% homebrew, D&D, actual play, livestream campaign set in a non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. These are some content warnings if you're just coming in after the break. Fantasy violence, pretty graphic gore, I would say pretty explicit gore, burns, scratches, bludgeoning, like just gore in general. Think like R-rated comic book level probably, as well as cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, including like the hyperventilation part and any like other part of it, poverty and classism and economic injustice. If any other content comes up, we'll do our best to preface it and add it to our tags for the next arc, I guess. So yeah, jumping right back into the session. The four of you sip your tea in Dr. Oluso's cottage after telling them how your quest in Yuddhabathi went, quelling this magical rage. You tell Dr. Oluso everything, right? What do you leave out? Or do you not leave anything out?
I don't think
About the rage?
About everything that's been happening, not just the rage. So if V wanted to hide that you were talking, in cahoots with Adam, Dewey, if you wanted to hide that the Myriad came after you, which I don't think any of your friends know even, right? Or that your sword has gained sentience, which I don't think any of your friends know either. Manaia, if you wanted to hide that you heard a voice speak in your head. I don't know if you were able to tell your friends. We can talk about that if your party knows, etc., stuff like that.
I think V is gonna, I think V is gonna come clean about her experience with the Chrysalis and sort of the deal she made with Adam in regards to Sievert and us helping get the Chrysalis maybe in better standing with the public perception. She's gonna come clean with all that at this point.
As you say this, this perhaps comes as a shock to Oka in particular, as you come clean about the scope of your deal with the Chrysalis. Dr. Oluso pauses and says, "Why would you do that, V?"
Well, let's just say that I thought about it deeply, and I thought that I had some interests that I thought the Chrysalis might be able to take care of, and I thought that maybe I could help them with theirs, and that way it would look like perhaps we could trust each other, and I could get some more information from them.
The deals you make are your own, but sometimes they aren't. Are you sure this won't affect your party's livelihood? That this won't come to bite us all?
Well, I think based on my understanding and what I've learned about them, I think we were going to have to deal with this sooner or later, but at least now we know more information than we knew beforehand.
And what information do we know about the Chrysalis? What have you found out about, aside from the fact that they promise perfect bodies to their followers, which is, of course, just a lie?
Are we going to go?
Yeah, do you want to go? Yeah, okay. So V, as you think about what to say, we go into your eyes and we flash back to an office, a familiar office that you've been in before. Just this very humble. There's just a desk. There's like like maybe a cabinet, but it's just that and just a rug. And on the other side of that desk is Adam, the leader of the Chrysalis, or so you have been told. This figurehead known as the Imago, which is a term for the final stage in an insect's metamorphosis. He sits on the other side of this desk, his fingers steepled like this, looks at you, The only door in and out of this office is closed, and you sit on the other side of the desk. You're in the basement of the renovated orphanage that the Chrysalis is now using as their headquarters in Talmaad. Adam looks at you. V. So?
Adam, when did you feel like you were going to tell me that Shakor is nothing but puddle of goo disguised as a human?
Adam tucks a lock of blonde hair behind his pale ear. Just to further cement that he's a white guy. And he sort of adjusts the tie of his suit. His, like, Western-style suit, which is extremely unusual in Andake. I'm not sure, aside from, your tie and your suit, not a lot of people wear this sort of this sort of outfit in Andake. And he goes, I was wondering if that would become relevant during your quest. I take it that you were unable to rescue his remains.
Unfortunately, no. I mean, first off, we didn't know what to do with them. What do you do with Puddle of Goo who used to be human? You never gave instructions on how to perhaps, I don't know, take care of the remains of a puddle of goo. And what's that chain that was inside of the goo? I have so many questions. You have to, maybe perhaps if we're going to keep working with each other, you're going to have to tell me some things here.
I suppose I should let you in a little. You have proven yourself to be quite successful in your promises. Our recruitment efforts have doubled, thanks to all of the good you say we've done. And I believe that the vote about whether or not the Chrysalis should become illegal in Talmaad has been postponed. I think indefinitely, as they figure out how to take care of these, the aftermath of the miners being rescued. The Shakor was not a man, necessarily. At least not...
That much was obvious.
Not originally. He became a man after several hard weeks of learning how to do so. But he used to be... Well, he didn't have a name for himself. I've decided to give the name to him. He's what I call a flesh warper. They are creatures, emissaries of the Chrysalis, given to us after the old gods vanished and abandoned this plane. I call those little creatures, those adorable little things with the mouths. So he's referring to the little chicken boys with the huge gnarly teeth. I call those creatures the wretched. Because they do look a little wretched. But they mean well. They do.
So, I'm assuming these wretched kill so that you can take the souls to harvest to put into new flesh warpers?
I will allow you this question due to the good you've done for me, and I will allow you one more after that. But again, as we both know, information is currency here. So, to answer your first question, yes, we take the souls of the unworthy, let's say, the grass, to help feed our operation. After all, the Chrysalis, though powerful and supreme and divine, all magic comes from somewhere. These souls are necessary, let's say, to help keep our operation going. And of course, we wouldn't want to take the souls of individuals such as yourself or your friends. No. The only souls we harvest here are the souls of the grass, the average citizen, not even the below, the people who don't really contribute much to society. You get what I'm saying? At least this way, they're contributing.
That's a delightful way of looking at it. I mean, as someone who deals in value and currency...
You understand, right?
Yes, I think it's a very wise choice. I think, not all people are equal. Some people are more important, valued more.
Exactly. Thank you. We are not all equal.
I guess my final question then would be, are you a paragon? Does that mean anything to you?
Roll insight. Or are you trying to detect that? Well, let's roll insight first.
Insight isn't 12.
12. You see an expression flash across Adam's face. It's surprise. First of all, shock, more like that you know the term at all. And then there's sort of like a confusion in his eyes. Something dark, very violent for a moment in his eyes, like you've never seen it before. And then he sort of, the mask is back on. And he goes, a paragon? What do you mean?
Well, let's just say in my travels that it seems to me that there are supernatural entities. I hate the term gods. I've never believed in the gods, but I have seen some things in these last few months that I cannot explain. Traveling between bodies, containers. I see what you're doing here with souls. So I'm wondering, perhaps, are you one of these people who had some type of energy flow into them? You told me when the first time we met that you were a con man. So I don't think you're just lying to me. I don't think you're putting on a show. I think perhaps were in the right place at the right time to maybe catch something that is giving you more power than you're letting on. And don't call it Chrysalis. We all know that that's nothing more than a term you made up.
Okay. I don't usually ask for charisma rolls, but I'm gonna ask you to roll persuasion.
Persuasion?
Yeah.
Well, I do love my charisma-based stats.
I know, so I'm like, well, let's see what you got here, Garrica.
15.
Okay. Adam pauses, looks at you, and says, by paragon, I assume you're referring to the paragons of yore. The Gambit of Queens? You think I am the next paragon? These are children's tales. V, I thought you were smarter than this.
V actually does legit laugh out loud. And after the last 2 months in Andake and the things that I have seen, I'm ready and willing. Well, I might be kicking and screaming believing this, but I am willing to at least give a chance to believe that some of these stories might actually be true.
He sort of looks at you. Make a charisma saving throw.
Nat 20, biatch.
Wow!
It's actually 26.
26 on your save. That is successful. I will say. So you feel like as Adam's looking at you, you feel almost like a spike. It's similar. It's like it's being done to you. Almost like similar to like a detect thoughts, but this is something greater than that. It's much more powerful magic. It's like getting splintered into your head. How do you fight it out?
I am going to fight it out by casting Scorching Ray at this motherfucker.
Oh God! Okay, make an attack roll, I guess.
Let's see, I've got...
You should get advantage. You should get advantage because of the good roll.
Yeah, you're right. Because of the nat 20, I'll give you advantage on your attack roll. And while you do that, let's transition over, I think, to Oka. So we flash back to the present, and Dr. Oluso says, well, if you need some time to think of an answer, V, I understand. Oka, a lot's been going on with you. How have you been taking it?
Fine.
And then we sort of like zoom in on your face, as we know you're not fine. And we flash back to a hospital bed. Sort of like a medical area of Yuddhabathi. Ravi is like a private room. Ravi is sort of like sitting in like this bed with like a blanket over her. and you are sitting next to her, Oka. You're visiting her. This is where you went instead of the ceremony. And as you're sitting beside Ravi, Ravi's actually like reading a book. As you're sitting beside her, like an old like children's like tales, like fables book. There's like a brief silence. How do you break it?
I think I break it by waking up, because Oka would have like passed out in the chair with like their face on the side of the bed, you know? From sheer exhaustion.
Yep.
I think like they just kind of like.
You're awake.
Oh, good, you're awake.
Ravi closes the book and sets it aside. Looks down at you, Oka. Your like eyes are all puffy from exhaustion. Like your hair is all fucked up. You don't look good at all. Ravi goes, you know, it was pretty unnecessary for you to stay up all night waiting for me to wake up.
I didn't want to. I'd rather not sleep. Did I sleep?
Yeah, you were out for a while. I think you're missing the ceremony.
Oh, good. I didn't want to go anyway. I told Divya she could go.
Yeah, she and Mama Fish were very excited.
Good. How is your it just kind of gestures at all of Ravi's body.
I'm okay. Since Vinash left me, I've been recovering. My health and my strength have been coming back to me slowly. Oka, that's something we need to talk about. I was conscious but hurting when we escaped. I noticed you were the one who ferried us to safety. The pain. It still lingers, doesn't it?
Nothing I can't handle.
Ravi sort of looks at you sideways and says, every time you... Let me put it this way. Vinash is powerful. It is a part of your soul now. He can do incredible things. He can get you out of dangerous situations. He can inflict dangerous situations at your will, essentially. And I have a feeling he'll be a lot more amenable to what you want because you're a paragon.
Okay, so you're obviously still sick.
No.
I'm just gonna go.
Oka, wait. Basically, this explanation, what it means is, starting with that D4 we rolled earlier, that isn't just like you take lightning damage. That is a damage to your total hit points, your maximum HP. So for now, you should still write what your original maximum HP is somewhere. You should note it somewhere. But until Vinash is removed from your body, every time you tap into his power, your maximum HP will be reduced. And the die will increase. So it was a D4. The next time you use it will be a D6.
Ouch.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. That's what that explanation means. So Ravi says, I didn't believe it myself, but the visions he showed me, and that final confrontation with you, the fact that you're still conscious, I could barely hold him. I was half conscious during that entire time that he was in me.
Ravi, how did you... And Oka like leans in close. How did you get a god stuck in your body?
It was honestly an accident. A couple weeks back, I was scouting out the monster fighting rings, trying to look at these new monsters Orok had brought in. Lady Saram found me, sent her guards after me. I ran through the tunnels. You know, I know the city. I know these tunnels like the back of my hand. So I ran, I ditched the goons at the entrance to the mines, but one of them was particularly persistent, so I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And then he must have found me. He was looking for strong people, Oka, for a reason. He was looking for warriors to protect him. He was scared. He's still scared. These new monsters, Oka, they don't just go around killing people for no reason. There's a reason. They're preparing for something. They hunger, they thirst. If they can get the soul of a god, even the echo of a god, which is what... That's not even Vinash, really. That is an echo of Vinash in you. Just a speck of his power. It was severed from the rest of Yuddhabathi during the cataclysm. Adolin, you know why they say it's the thinning of the veils, right? It's when the gods can move into the now, or at least a part of them. Whatever this cataclysm was, it wasn't a coincidence. This was on purpose. It happened on Adolin for a reason. It severed this shred of Vinash, this shred of Yuddhabathi, from the rest of it.
It's impossible.
You know, if I were you, I'd think I was crazy too. I'd think it was impossible too. But I know this to be true because Vinash showed it to me. The fear, the loneliness he felt after Adolin was incomparable. So he lashed out, in the only way he knew. Infecting people with his rage. Not to hurt the people of Dabathati, but to protect himself. And I was the strongest body he'd found so far, so he placed himself in me. Being outside of me, he's unstable. He was causing pulses of all these disasters in Dabathati, the buildings collapsing. That was partially him, because he hadn't found a vessel yet.
Okay, well, apparently I'm not it either.
No, you're... Honestly, I didn't know if I could even believe what he was telling me when he was in me, but paragons are real. They were real, they are real. Whenever Andake is thrown into crisis, paragons appear to help her. You're not a paragon of Yuddhabathi, but you are of a different god.
Bobby, this is... I know. No, I am.
Would Oka have told Ravi what happened to them, or does Ravi still not know?
They would have said the bare minimum without any of the context. Does that make sense to you?
Not really. I don't know what details Ravi knows and doesn't. Do you want to maybe...
Can I text you about them?
Yeah. Why don't you text me as we
maybe
bounce to
Erica.
someone else? Yep. Or maybe bounce to like either Manaia or Dewey.
So bounce back to Erica.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We're not having 4 stories at once.
Sure, you're right. Bouncing back to V. What did you get for your scorching ray on Adam?
So I had to roll a d20 for each one, for each ray. So the first one is 13.
Okay.
The second one is 23.
Okay.
And the third one, listen to me closely, nat 20.
Is this with advantage?
No, it wasn't even... no, it was with
Okay.
advantage, yep.
Cool. The 13 doesn't hit. What is the... Well, the nat 20 will hit no matter what. The 23 does not hit, but the nat 20 does. So...
Okay.
So why don't you roll damage?
Sorry, did you just say a 23 doesn't hit?
Yeah, the 23 doesn't
Sorry,
hit.
did you just say that a 23 doesn't hit?
The 23 doesn't hit. I don't know what you're expecting.
You done fucked up.
So what did you...
So 5 points of fire damage.
Okay, 5. You can roll double damage. So I'll let you choose for your nat 20. You can roll double damage. You can... Or actually, how I like to... Let's do double damage in this way. You can roll max damage for the first one and then roll again. So it's like rolling double damage, but you're guaranteed a high damage score for one of the rolls. Does that make sense?
Okay. So basically kind of a hybrid of both, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want this 5 to be
The roll? Yeah,
Just
sure. Let's say the 5 is the
then,
roll.
so-
Yep, so what's max
So
damage?
then 17.
17 total. Okay, so describe to me what it looks like. So 3 rays come out, right? But only 1 hits?
Yep.
So I think what happens,
So-
is there's that spike in your mind, and quick as lightning, you respond. What does it look like?
Yeah, I'm just gonna fling my glove hand in the direction of Adam, and basically 3 just come out all at once. 1 dead center, and the other 2 just on either side of him, in either direction, hitting furniture or whatever is in the office, the wall.
Okay. What level is Scorching Ray cast at?
I cast it at a level 2 spell.
Okay. So you one hits. I think instead of hitting either side of Adam, all 3 of them seem to like be hitting their mark because he's literally right across the desk from you. Like he's right there. He's at point blank range, basically. He sort of like acts as quickly as you do. As soon as you throw out your diamond, he whips his hand and he misdirects one ray, like as if he's like and you see it splash and splatter against the wall, and it turns into water. It splashes against the wall. He misdirects the other one, and it splats against the wall. It turns into just like a glob of flesh, and then it begins to drip down the wall. But the third one, as he's like busy misdirecting these 2, pins him sort of in the shoulder, and he's sort of blasted backward in his swivelly chair, and he like hits like the opposite wall. He goes ugh, and you like burn away his suit, and you burn away like part of his suit, and it's like smoldering a little, and he goes. V knock Scherzo. This was bespoke. And he snaps his fingers and he mends his suit back up. And he goes, "We don't have to turn to violence here, Dewey, because I assure you, V, you will not walk away from this victorious."
I was merely responding to you trying to get inside of my head. Maybe if you don't want to get burned, don't go inside of my head.
I have to give you credit for that, V. You're a lot more resilient than I thought you were. Fine, I come clean. I was trying to pierce into your soul. Why are you
Put
asking?
it that way, it sounds so romantic.
He sort of like smooths out like his shirt. He like scooches his chair back in. He says, "Why are you so obsessed and interested in these paragons?"
As the way that I see it, these last 2 months in Andake, if I'm going to make any kind of profit off of what is going on now, I need to know what's going on. If I'm one of the only people who knows what's going on, I can leverage that to the best of my ability.
I see. Then perhaps, if that was your last question, I suppose you have my answer. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good conversation. Also, I was wondering, could I get one of these cool robes to wear around? You know, I'm the prophet of the Chrysalis, and if I'm going to keep doing that work, I would love to have one of these lovely robes I see everybody wearing.
Fine. Shakor is dead, so Lily will help you.
Perfect.
And he seems still like a little like ruffled by the fact that you blasted him. He goes, ugh. V, an update on your Dragonborn. He's not in Yuddhabathi anymore. We tracked him, paper trail, witnesses. He had a dinner after your confrontation with him at his office. With Aurochs herself. None of my spies were able to tell me what they were talking about, but it can't be anything good. Your man is tangled up with some powerful criminals, V. He left on a caravan that same night. He's out of Yuddhabathi. I'm not exactly sure where he's gone. My guess,
Well,
based on what he was wearing, somewhere cold.
perfect. I love that. I told you that he's dangerous and that he's not going to stop for anything, so this is good information. Thank you so much for that.
You are welcome, V. And for what it's worth, piece of advice. from one con man to another. Don't go around blasting your business associates with fire.
From one, and I think V's gonna stand up and like start heading towards the door, and like as she's walking towards the door, she's gonna be saying, "From a con woman to a con man, let me just say that one piece of advice is don't lock yourself at the far end of the room from the door." And she's gonna open it, run out, and cast Fireball back in the room and
Jesus
run.
Christ, V! And you're gonna run away?
Yep.
Because you're not even stopping to see what happens. Why don't you just make it? Okay, it's a save, right? What level is that?
It is level 3.
Okay. As soon as you're like thrusting your hand out to cast Fireball, you feel the magic that was like burning up in your palm fizzle out. As Adam throws out his hand and he counterspells what you were doing.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's just like
so excited
he
to roll
stifles it. Yeah, there's like a little bit of flame that comes out and he stifles it and he says, V, what did I tell you? You will never beat me. Lily, why don't you give our guest a robe on her way out?
Fine. I'm gonna go with Lily, get myself a robe, and as I'm leaving, I'm actually gonna disguise self, wearing these robes. And I'm gonna go. Hold on. I've got a little sticky note here of all my characters.
Oh my god.
I think I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with an awesomer character.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of tall, but not super tall. Pretty long hair, up, done. Yeah, I mean, covered in these robes now, so.
Mm-hmm. You didn't tell Adam anything about Vinash or anything like that, right? You still used your cover story?
Correct, yep.
About the crystal construct? Okay, sounds good. So you leave disguised as this Aasimar draped in the robes of the Chrysalis. And on that, we go back to Oka. Go ahead. Ravi is there looking at you intently, Oka. How are you dealing with all this information?
They're shut down. The new information. Oka's halfway shut down already.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute prince of repression right here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, it's like you can say a fact in a book without ever having to actually tangle with what it means, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ravi pauses and says, Oka, look, you have to have known that on some level, at least, you're... I need to get back into her voice. You're special, right? It's not any normal person who can survive a direct gore from a Telian.
And I didn't. Okay? I didn't.
You live, you die. Sometimes you live again. And when you come back, you are never the same.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Oka, we're monster hunters by trade. The Telian is one of the most powerful creatures that can roam our plane. One hit can decimate an entire city. The fact that you even came back... I always knew there was something special about you, Oka. This only confirms it.
Stop saying that. I'm not special. This is just some fucked up thing that I never, ever asked for, and I don't want it.
Well, I never asked for this either, Oka. You think I wanted that thing inside me, burning me alive, making me hurt the people I care about? Sometimes bad shit happens to you, and you just have to keep going. Because other people are counting on you. You think a mother who loses her home can just give up? No, her family will starve. This fate, this destiny is on your shoulders, Oka, whether you like it or not.
So what do I do? What do I do?
You learn to control it. You sharpen your blade. You find who Yuddhabathi belongs to, and you give it to them. And then you find Sen. I might have something that can help you. Ugh. And they sort of like reach over into their bedside table, and they pull out like tattoo equipment, like inks and like needles. And you know what this is about, Oka. Ravi had told you pretty much like how she convinced you to become a blood hunter in the beginning was her dope ass tats. And she was like, she's always told you only when you were worthy will she give you your own blood hunting, like your own blood weapons is what they're known as. She says, I noticed you broke your Tao.
I did.
This will be a blade that will never break. Oka, I think it's time you have your own blood weapon.
Right.
I only have enough ink for one, and it'll take your body a while to get attuned to one anyway. You have 3 options here. I know how to give you a blade, knuckles, or a whip.
Come on, you know I want the blade.
Give me your arm. Or whichever arm you want to use.
Right-handed.
Yep.
Guess that's the right arm on the table.
And Ravi begins to tattoo you. With magical inks, basically. While that's happening, do you want to say like any last things to Ravi before we wrap up the scene?
I really am sorry for what I said before I left. I was young and angry, and I still am angry, but you're not a bad blood hunting teacher. Okay? I said it. Don't ever bring it up again.
You've grown soft, Oka. Must be those friends of yours.
Oh, shut up.
And she continues, like, tattooing you, says, it's fine, Oka. You don't have to apologize. I never resented you for it. And you know what? Maybe you were right. I'm not the best teacher. If I were better, maybe I could have prepared you more for something like this.
Nobody could have been prepared for whatever this is.
You're right. Now, stop squirming. And they tattoo.
It hurts!
And as she's tattooing you, she says, this blade's name is Culling Edge. Treat her well. So you now have a blood weapon. So basically what this means, like for Arc 2, is that Oka can summon like a blood weapon out of their arm, Culling Edge. And you could do a lot of cool shit with it, so I'm excited for us to roll into that for Arc 2. Does that feel like a good end to that scene, See?
Back in Dr. Oluso's house, they kind of flex their arm. Like, I got a tattoo for myself because that's got a tattoo. That's all that happened, basically.
It's a nice tattoo. Looks like a sword. I think that's pretty fitting. Dr. Oluso sort of nods. Doesn't seem to think much about it beyond the fact that it's just a tattoo. It says, and V. Well, if you don't want to tell me what you've learned about the Chrysalis, I suppose I can't force you.
Fine, if you're gonna pull my arm and I just say everything that happened, every little detail of that fight,
Every single detail. Okay. Wow. Finally, it spills. The rest of you are reacting to this in real time as well. Like a
You
brief.
shot the leader of the Chrysalis with fire.
Twice?
Wait, but then you did it?
Twice?
He turned it into
ate
water. He snapped his fingers and just healed instantly. Healed up his clothes. We're dealing with some messed up stuff here right now.
He sounds like a very powerful magic user in that case. If you were able to counterspell your fireball. And Dr. Oluso says, and the water turned to flesh? That sounds like transmutation magic. Well, that tracks. He called it, what, the flesh warper? And Dr. Oluso is writing all of this down, like scribbling in record time. And he didn't react at all when you... Do you bring up paragons to Dr. Oluso at this juncture? And do y'all tell them everything that happened with Vinash and all that? You said yeah, right? You told them everything. Okay. You brought up the paragons? Okay.
And I especially said the little thing about when I asked him, like the little bit of hesitancy and rage in his eyes.
Well, I think you already know this in your heart of hearts, V, but Adam, if that even is his real name, was certainly lying about not knowing anything about the paragons. I'm willing to wager he's intimately involved in everything that's happening here. Ugh. And this is the first time we see Dr. Oluso look probably, like, mad. They go, ugh, if only I were there, I'd... Ugh. Beat his... I just... And, like, they, like, calm themselves down. They look, like, genuinely, like, kind of pissed off when you, like, tell them about Adam. He said that they were collecting souls to feed this Chrysalis thing?
Yep.
How?
All the people well, maybe not all the people, but certainly many people that sign up and become the grass. I talk about, like, my incident with the contract, my first day in the orphanage, and all that. Like, there are people who seem to be just being prepared to be eaten by these wretches to then harvest those souls.
How selfish and inhumane. These people must be stopped.
Well, I tried my best.
I believe you did, V, but it appears it will take all of our efforts to stop this. I don't think it's going to be as simple as walking up to their leader and blasting him into the beyond. I have a feeling they have a contingency plan for that. I doubt Adam is the only trick they have up their sleeve. Well, we have to keep an eye on this Chrysalis. I'm glad you didn't entirely burn that bridge, even though it sounds like you tried. We can perhaps try to help you here, V. Try to learn as much about their plans as possible, though your attacking him certainly didn't help in curating that trust. But that's okay, V, that's okay. I know you were trying. I know it was a difficult position that you were put in.
Hey, if he wouldn't have tried to read my mind, I probably wouldn't have tried to put them on fire several times. But look, I got cool robe out of it.
Yes, that robe, that will be useful. Well, thank you for telling me, and Oka, this matter of the paragons, I thought it was just a fable, but clearly it's not. You? What did Vinash call you, the... Sen?
Ben. But apparently, I don't have Sen right now.
No, you don't. If I had to guess, I'd say Sen is in Jukai. I've heard of quite a few rumors, quite a few things about what's going wrong in Jukai. Strange matters are happening all over Andake. There is the rage in Yuddhabathi. Things are happening in Kanongbo, too. I've heard rumors of hares eating foxes, of the cycles of nature reversing themselves. There seems to be some sort of imbalance happening in the United Tribes. All over Andake. There is much work to be done. Though speaking of helping people, Manaia. What's been going on with you?
My mother, Nali, used to tell me stories of the Princess of Leaves. She said she was a child, fickle, and that she ran away from her responsibilities until she met a mortal woman who was doing the same. They both learned to take joy in what they did, and according to her, returned to their respective homes. The woman that the Princess of Thieves met was my mother. She was the most powerful warlock you've ever seen. She could conjure anything you wanted out of thin air. She'd spook me by teleporting behind me, pushing my chair over. I met the Princess of Leaves, and this time she wasn't as childish as the stories said. Or wasn't as childish as when she met my mother.
I see. And as you're telling the story, maybe we like zoom in on your white eyes that are now sort of like refracting with a bit of orange, a bit of green. And where are you? Are you on the caravan ride to Dr. Oluso's, perhaps? Or like, are you taking like a quiet moment by yourself? Where are you, Manaia, as you try to contact the Princess of Leaves after all this ridiculousness has sort of died down?
One night, while the caravan's on its way to Dr. Oluso's, probably the second night of 4.
Sounds good.
Or 3, rather. We're setting up camp, and she's just gonna take a moment where she walks a few paces away, sits down, and closes her eyes and concentrates.
Okay. Under the darkness of the starless sky, you close your eyes and you try to tap into your soul. I don't think you've ever really had any sort of magical training, or you've never been very magically adept at all, but you're trying really, really, really hard to contact her. And then you feel it. Yeah, go ahead.
Manaia's parents tried to teach her magic.
It did not come to you. You were not a natural at it, let's say. But you do feel something begin to stir within yourself. And it's like a little breeze flaps around your trench coat. And you smell that sweet smell of spring and summertime, like swirling in your nose a little bit. And then it's like the voice is like a gush of wind in your ear. And you hear, Manaia?
Hello.
Hi. The voice sounds a little different from when you first heard her. Sounds younger. Almost childlike. She goes, this is new. You're new to this, aren't you?
Well, Mother tried to teach me magic, but she never taught me how to contact a changer of seasons.
Oh, please, you can just call me the princess.
Well, pleasure to meet you, I guess. Manaia's saying all of this out loud.
Yeah, sure. She says, you don't have to talk out loud either. If you just think it, I'll know. And maybe people won't look at you as weird.
Manaia looks behind her.
Yeah, you see, you see like some of the people who are working the caravan like staring at you because you're just talking out loud to yourself. Oka's smoking and like, what the hell's going on? So you close your eyes again and you think your next words, which is?
That's probably better.
Yes. Manaia, I can't... It's hard for me to stay in contact with you. Usually our bond is most strong when you're actually doing magic or if you really, really, really need me, but I wanted to say hi to you. I wanted to give myself a proper introduction.
Well, Mother told me the stories. And I'm sure you've seen me.
Yes.
For the brief time that we were together.
Yes. Oh, your mother told me about telling you stories about me and us and, you know, your other mom and your dad too. They all love you so much, Manaia. Nali, well, I suppose you have a lot of questions.
They're not coming back, are they?
Manaia, that's what I wanted to tell you. Nali, Napua, Kahealani, the three of them were alive. Well, two of them still are alive. They're in the court, Manaia. I was unable to contact you because her magic isn't strong enough, but in a moment of death, I mean, nothing is more magical than a mother's love. She could sense that you were in trouble, Manaia, and she, well, gave her life for yours. Gave her power to you to bring you back. It's the only thing that could kill her in the court. Oh, something is very, very, very wrong in the court. Your parents, they're drowning. They continue to drown every day. They've been drowning for the past 7 years. You have to help them. It's awful.
Thank you.
I can't accept that, Manaia. I wasn't strong enough to help them. But you are. You are, Manaia. I can feel it. The space in your soul, it's so vast. I've never felt anything like it before. Nali was powerful. She was one of the most powerful warlocks even my mother has. But you, Manaia, there is such a space here. Vast like the ocean, like...
Don't say it.
Like... Mahu.
I've had enough encounters with gods for the next 7 years.
Yes, I imagine, but Manaia, if anyone can save the rest of your parents, it's you. You have to go to the court. They're trapped. I don't exactly know where, but they're trapped in water somewhere. It's not Mahu's water. They're alive, but barely. They're not supposed to be alive. Some magic is keeping them. You have to help them.
I have to get back to see the doctor. After that, we'll head out.
Okay. If you want to talk again, Manaia, I can't promise I'll be around. It takes a lot out of me to talk and to just exist inside of you. If you really need me, though, I'll be there.
One more thing.
Yes.
My mother, her powers. Will you teach me?
It would be my honor. We love you, Manaia. And then you feel the presence sort of die back down as the princess of Yep.
As it's fading.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom.
And the Princess of Leaves sort of folds herself back into your soul.
Well, that's me. Plenty of other things happened in the city, but you already knew about that. The ring and, well, Sievert and what happened after.
So, Sen. Dr. Oluso points at Oka. Mahu points at Manaia. Dr. Oluso just sort of sits there as, like, nodding slowly. Cardu. Has anything earth-shattering and horrifying happened to you?
I got the long end of the stick, I imagine.
Get in line.
As long as we're sharing. I was sent on a quest for information about the Stranger War and these paragons.
A quest? Who sent you on this quest?
So I met the assassin that was sent after me.
What?
And I'm here. I'm not dead. So that's great. They want information though. And I mean, it looks like I also need this information now that we're being very much affected.
The Stranger War.
Fought back an assassin.
Cardi.
More
Yeah.
than meets the eye. The eye, I see.
Why does this assassin want information about a children's story? Well, obviously, wow, I have to reevaluate my entire worldview. Clearly, the Paragons aren't just children's stories. Why, regardless, why does this assassin wish to know more about this obscure bit of lore?
Something about his god being not able to contact his god anymore. Emissary.
His god, do you remember who his god is?
No. Forgot to ask.
I
almost died. I mean,
Yeah, that must have been terrifying, Cardew.
yeah, a little bit,
Wow.
but it's fine.
Well, how about everything else? And sort of on that, we like zoom in on Dewey's big ol' yellow eyes. As you're probably looking for a way for that, right? That's what you were trying to do with your time in the city with your watch. Mm-hmm. You're snooping, and especially because you've been like heralded as a hero in Yuddhabathi, people are very willing to help you. So you're given information, and you're pointed to a bookstore in Thristy, the district of Thristy. Not an inventor's shop, not a tinkerer's place, but a bookstore. Bausha's Books. And as you go in, it is this vast, it's actually like, it kind of reminds you, you're like maybe brought back briefly of like that cylindrical cavern that all of you saw Ravi in. But it's like a tall cylinder, it's like just books, and books are lined like all around the edges. It goes all the way up. There are like a few people in this bookstore, and you hear like a flutter of wings. And landing in front of you is an Aarakocra, just like yourself, but an owl. Like a tawny, like barn owl, like Aarakocra. And she is about your height. She like ruffles her finger, like her feathers, and a few feathers like come off. She goes, you must be my 3 o'clock appointment, Dewey Quirk, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh yeah, like come into my office. You can fly, right?
Yeah.
I just follow me right on up. It's such an as she gets up, her like wings flapping silently. You get up. Yeah, like she less gracefully as a pigeon. She's like soaring up. There seems to be like a warm like channel of air from like runes at the very bottom that help like float her up, all the way to the top. And she lands on a perch, and like begins walking into like this little like comfy like office nest area. She goes, I was so happy to hear that one of the heroes of Yuddhabathi was an Aarakocra, and not just that, but an inventor, a tinkerer. Come in. There's plenty of room in this nest.
Okay, I step in.
Okay, she steps in as well, and she says, would you like some worms?
No, that's okay.
Okay, how about some cakes? I have some
I'm good.
pastries? Oh, okay. Well, how can I help you?
I'm looking for a couple things. So this, the big watch thing, what do you know about getting items that are bound to you, cursed, off of you?
A curse? I know quite a lot
Not
about...
cursed.
Well, if it's bound to you, it seems... That thing, right? Do you mind if I take a look?
Okay.
Okay, Yep, she whips out a couple of instruments. Like, you recognize them as, like, tinker's tools. Like, magnifying glass, mostly. And she starts tapping around it with, like, her beak and, like, a little, like, spire. She's like, don't worry, I'm being very gentle. I'm being very... As she, like, moves the microscope away. She's like, what? How did that get on your wrist?
Not fine. I didn't choose to... yeah.
Well, you've come to the right place. You know, for years and years and years, I've been collecting every scrap of knowledge I can find here. Bausha's Books. I've read up on every magical thing imaginable that's available in the Republic. You've come I will help you, Dewey Quirk. I will do my utmost to help you. Rest assured, that thing is a contraption. That is an extremely delicate, dangerous contraption. I'm sure you know it will blow up if you try to remove it.
Which is why I don't want it on me.
Agreed. Let's try to get it off of you, Dewey. Unfortunately, hold on. And she's like flipping through a bunch of books with her like nose, like flipping. I recognize the design a little. There's something. She sprinkles some dust over it and has like a minor reaction. It poofs a little. She goes, as I suspected, you can't remove this watch through mechanical means alone. If that were the case, I'd just send you to a tinkerer, or you could probably just tinker with it and take it off yourself. But a more skilled tinkerer, if possible, than you. It's not just mechanical, Dewey. You're right, it is cursed. There is a magical curse on this watch that prevents you from removing it at all. But there is a way. And she's like flipping through all these books. But it's a hard, difficult way.
Yeah, I figured.
It requires a ritual. The ritual itself is simple enough. I can write down the instructions for you. You just need a little bit of a blood sacrifice, a little bit of draw down some chalk, and you need 8 components. You need more components than 8, but 8 primary components in order to remove this watch. And I'm afraid whoever designed this watch was quite sadistic, because these 8 components are indigenous to each of the 8 nations of Andake, and they're very, very, very hard to find. For instance, the one here in Talmaad, it is a kind of yellow quartz that hasn't been seen in millennia and millennia of the time of the giants.
Oh, you mean like this?
As she squawks, squawk! As she stares at, she goes, where did you get that?
Down in the mines.
Really? The mines? The mines don't go there. Really? Huh. Well, I suppose that's why the Republic is so rich then. Well, that's great. You have 1 out of 8 components needed. Here, I'll write down the rest for you. Unfortunately, since they're indigenous to the other nations, you'll have to find specialty buyers or collect them yourself. Each of them is either notoriously rare, expensive, dangerous, or difficult to harvest in some way. Here, and she writes down a component list for you and hands it to you.
Thank you.
Anything for a hero of the Republic.
Could I borrow some books? Or
you can have books for free on the house.
Okay.
Just not the limited edition mint first edition copies. I can make copies of them for you if you'd like, but I'd like to keep the originals.
Yeah.
Of course.
Can I make some copies of reference books?
Absolutely. Anything you need, Miss Quirk.
Where would I find the Stranger War?
Stranger War?
Literature.
Well, that's quite an obscure bit of literature. Here, I'll help you. And Bausha flutters out and begins to direct you to the books that you might need. So, Dewey, you're trying to collect books on the Stranger War. Anything else? Cool. So she gives you, there doesn't seem to be too many. Here she seems mostly to be versed in magical happenings and magical anomalies and whatnot, but she gives you a couple, maybe 2 or 3 books. She pulls them off and she gives them to you. She says, free of charge.
Thank you.
And just hands them to you. Says, yeah, it's okay. These are references, copies anyway. I have the originals in the archives. Excuse me, Dewey, is there anything you'd like to do before wrapping up this scene? Anything else you'd like to talk to Bausha about? Okay. What this means, Max, is I'll write down a list of those components, and I'll give them to you as a player handout between arcs of everything you need to collect in order to become truly free from the URL. Cool. So we go back to Dr. Oluso's cottage now that everyone's sort of side scenes and little subplots have sort of been explored a little bit and wrapped up in their own way in Yuddhabathi. And Dr. Oluso sits there taking this all in and says, wow. That is a lot to take in. You know what? And they sort of lean in and they say, I think the 4 of you deserve a break. before we move on to perhaps your next quest.
Yes, of course. We'll spend the night and we'll be off again
Oh,
tomorrow.
no. I've been talking with Squeak about it. As Squeak sort of hops in from the kitchen, she's wearing a little apron that says, kiss the chef. She has like a spatula up. She goes, "Was my name called?" This little grung, as round as she is tall. She goes, "Oh, yes, Squeak. What? It was actually Squeak's idea after, peering about all your nightly updates and after I told them what you did in Yuddhabathi. Yes, I've decided the four of you are trustworthy, and you will not backstab Dr. Oluso, or I shall slay you on the spot." And she, waves the spatula, says, "I thought perhaps it could be nice if the four of you took maybe a little vacation." Yes, a vacation. Of course, I'd pay for everything. You don't have to worry about that. I'd arrange travel I think it's important for the four of you to take a load off. I have some contacts up in Morose. They run a hot spring up there on Zima.
Well, I suppose I can't quite go find my parents if I'm struck down by the most powerful warrior in the world. Manaia looks at Squeak.
She goes, "You sure cannot. Do not turn down my hospitality."
Squeak, I can't believe you trust me after all this time, friend.
A trust is hard to earn, but easy to break, V. Nokshazo.
Duly noted. I, for one, would love to go someplace nice and cold for a little Arendar. I hear all the best people go to Morose.
Correct answer. Oka?
Yeah.
It will be good for your messed up body.
Yeah. My hands are still shaking. So I'd like a bath. I'd like a bath for a really long time. A really, really long bath.
Yes, of course, just make sure you don't overheat in the hot spring.
Oh, a really, really long bath.
Dewey?
Oh, Dewey, you'd love it there. People there have stories galore. It seems they know everything. I've been once or twice.
Oh yes,
That sounds...
Morose is beautiful this time of year.
What's a vacation?
You do not get paid time off at the URL. And
What?
Yep, I think off that, everyone turning to you going, "What?" We can end the very last episode of Arc 1 there. Wow. Wow. So many things are being set up for Arc 2. Y'all basically have the opportunity. There are reasons for y'all to go to the court, to Morose, where Sievert is, to Jukai, to find to find Sen, to find the person that Yuddhabathi actually belongs to. So many reasons, and Dewey has reasons to go all over to find the components to unlock his bomb watch. So the next time you'll see us, we're going to take a 2-week-long break, is going to be January 2nd. That is Saturday, January 2nd. That's in 2 weeks, at 3 p.m. Central with our special guest stars, Critical Bard and Gabe James Games. They are going to be guest starring in this episode, the Hot Spring episode. It's going to be like a relaxing, interlude between Arc 1 and Arc 2. Some things are going to happen at the Hot Spring. It's going to be good. So if you're free then, please tune in as a New Year's treat for yourself. Thank you all so much for everyone who subbed, everyone who followed, everyone who rated, everyone who gave bits. I know that we got up to the next backstory being unlocked here. So what that means, I think, is I'm gonna roll, let's see. Why not? I'm gonna roll a d4 again to see who's picked for. Maybe let's see if this can happen during the Hot Springs episode. Something going on. So pick your numbers, y'all. Pick your numbers. C got 3. Devin got 2. Max got 4, so that leaves Erica with 1.
Number 1.
Number
do it.
1.
Okay, who's
You're
what
gonna roll
again?
it now.
Okay, got it. I've logged it. So everyone,
Oh, so it's-
thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you in 2 Saturdays for Critical Bard Gabe James Game special episode. We love you all. We are going to raid someone very cool. I think Kupo is on right now, so we're going to raid Kupo Knight. They're super, super awesome, so stick around for that raid. They are a Filipinx trans creator. Use the raid message. So drop the raid message in chat, and we will see you all presently in Kupo's stream. We love you all so much.
So
Peace
much
out.
for a good arc 1.
Peace, peace, peace.
Thanks for Arc 1, y'all.
Thanks for Arc 1. Woo!